So we have an unsealed arrest warrant for Barry Morphew, but it is not the one you're thinking it is. And you might not even think that Barry Morphew did anything else, but apparently he did. And I think what he did is really telling of his character, because it seems that he thinks he is just above the law. We're going to look at what this arrest warrant says that he did, and I'll tell you that it deals with voter fraud and things he did on behalf of his wife, Suzanne Morphew, who at the time was missing. And now she's presumed dead. Still don't have a body, but let's hear what this guy did, okay? Let's get into this. So we have additional charges for Barry Morphew, and this arrest warrant will deal with those additional charges. He is being accused of allegedly voting with his missing wife's ballot. So he allegedly voted with Suzanne's ballot in the presidential election. The court documents, which we'll go over in a second, tell us that Barry Morphew is facing charges of felony forgery of public records and a misdemeanor elections mail ballot offense. These offenses occurred between October 22nd of 2020 and May 13th of 2021. The Chaffee County Sheriff's Office was notified by the Chaffee County Clerk of a report of alleged voter fraud. They had received an election voter ballot for a missing person, Suzanne Morphew, who had been missing since May of 2020. The clerk allowed the ballot to be photographed and taken into evidence. On the back of the ballot envelope, there was no signature next to the voter's signature, but Barry signed the witness signature. During an audio recorded interview with the FBI that they had with Barry on April 22nd, they asked him, "Hey, why did you submit your missing wife's presidential election voter ballot?" And according to the arrest warrant, Morphew replied, "Just because I wanted Trump to win." He added, "To give him," referring to President Trump, "another vote. I figured all these other guys are cheating, and I know she," referring to Suzanne Morphew, "was going to vote for Trump anyway." When the FBI told Barry that what he did was illegal, he responded, "I didn't know you couldn't do that for your spouse." In September of 2020, Barry petitioned for permanent guardianship of Suzanne, and he was granted letters of permanent adult guardianship from the Indiana courts on January 2021. Colorado has recognized those papers for guardianship shortly thereafter that, and Barry Morphew had a virtual advisement hearing in the morning for these new charges. His bond for the additional charges is $1,000, and he is already, as we know, currently in the Chaffee County Detention Facility without bond for charges of first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and attempt to influence a public servant. State of Colorado, County of Chaffee, Barry Lee Morphew. Okay, physical description, white male, 5'10", 190 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. The people of the state of Colorado versus Barry Lee Morphew. To any law enforcement officer authorized to execute arrest warrants within the state of Colorado, you are hereby commanded to arrest Barry Lee Morphew and bring him without unnecessary delay before the County District Court in and for the County of Chaffee, State of Colorado, to answer a complaint charging him with Colorado Revised Statute Title 113-106, forgery. Any person who falsely makes, alters, forges, or counterfeits any ballot before or after it has been cast, or forges any name of a person or a signer as a witness to a petition or nomination paper, or who forges any letter of acceptance, declination, or withdrawal, or who forges the name of a registered voter register elector to a voter's mail-in or mail ballot commits forgery as set forth in section 18.5.102 CRS, a class 5 felony, and shall be punished as provided in section 18.13401 CRS, and Colorado Revised Statute Title 113.112, an unclassified misdemeanor, offenses relating to mail ballots. Any person who, by use of force or other means unduly influences an elector to vote in any particular manner or to refrain from voting, or who falsely makes, alters, forges, or counterfeits any mail ballot before or after it has been cast, or who destroys, defaces, mutilates, or tampers with such a ballot, shall be punished by a fine of not more than $5,000, or by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 18 months, or by both such fine and imprisonment. Here we have the bail being set at $1,000, and that is the 13th day of May, and it's signed by the judge, 11th Judicial District. Okay, so let's go on in this arrest affidavit. So, probable cause for issuance of an arrest warrant. Comes now, your affiant being of lawful age and first being duly sworn, deposes and states that probable cause exists for the issuance of an arrest warrant for Barry Lee Morphew, date of birth 10/17/1967. The undersigned affiant, being first duly sworn upon oath, deposes and says that I, Detective Sergeant Claudette Haisu Julian, am and was at all relevant times hereto employed as a law enforcement officer in and for the County of Chaffee, State of Colorado. The affiant further states that all incidents described herein occurred within Chaffee County, State of Colorado. Your affiant says on Thursday, October 22nd, 2020, in the County of Chaffee, State of Colorado, at approximately 1818 hours, Chaffee County Sheriff, Officer Patrol Sergeant Jesse Cortez responded to the report of alleged voter fraud within the County of Chaffee. They said the allegation was initially reported via telephone by the Chaffee County Clerk, Lori Mitchell, and they give her date of birth as June 23, 1964, to the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office Sheriff John Speasy, then assigned to Sergeant Cortese by CCSO Under Sheriff Andrew Rorich. At approximately 1909 hours, Sergeant Cortese met in person with the County Clerk Mitchell at the Chaffee County Clerk and Recorder's Office located at the address of 104 Crestone Avenue within the city of Salida. According to a narrative by Sergeant Cortese, Chaffee County Clerk Mitchell reported that the Chaffee County Clerk's Office had received a United States of America presidential incoming election voter ballot pre-designated for a missing person identified as Suzanne Renee Morphew, date of birth 4/30/1971, who has been missing since May of the year 2020. The ballot was received by the Chaffee County Clerk's Office via United States Postal Service, Salida, Colorado. After receiving the ballot, it was scanned by the Chaffee County Clerk's Office personnel on the date of October 19, 2020 at 1902 hours. The County Clerk Mitchell then provided the ballot to Sergeant Cortese for purposes of being photographed and seized as evidence. County Clerk Mitchell also provided Sergeant Cortese with a printed photograph of the said ballot being processed through their sorting machine. While on scene, Sergeant Cortese photographed the front and back of said ballot. The photograph of the front of said ballot envelope displays the handwritten sender address of 19057 Puma Pass, Salida, Colorado 81201. The back of said ballot envelope displays the handwritten date of 10/15/20. Also on the back of said ballot envelope, below the self-affirmation. The ballot did not have a signature next to the X of the voter's signature required. However, the ballot did have a handwritten date of 10/15/20 on the designated date line, and the handwritten name of Barry Lee Morphew on this designated signature line of the witness's legal name. Sergeant Cortese seized and printed photograph and the ballot and the ballot envelope before concluding his contact with the Chaffee County Clerk, Mitchell. Sergeant Cortese then provided the evidence to the CCSO, Detective Evidence Technician Robin Burgess, to be processed and secured as evidence. CCSO evidence item IJRC ballot of missing person in the CCSO evidence division. According to a narrative by Detective Robin Burgess, on March 1, 2021, he later interviewed the Chaffee County Clerk Mitchell via telephone, and during that interview he requested to photograph the ballot and the ballot envelope for Barry Lee Morphew. Chaffee County Clerk Mitchell advised Detective Burgess that the ballots are held by her office for 25 months and that she would attempt to locate the requested ballot along with the ballot envelope. On March 2, 2021, Detective Burgess met with the Chaffee County Clerk Mitchell and photographed Barry's ballot. Before ending his contact with the Chaffee County Clerk Mitchell, she provided Detective Burgess with a printed photograph of Barry's voter ballot being processed through their sorting machine and a printed photograph of the voter ballot signature verification page on Barry's voter ballot. On April 22, 2021, the Federal Bureau of Investigation agent Jonathan Grusing and Agent Kenneth Harris met Barry Lee Morphew in person near the Franz Lake area located within the county of Chaffee to conduct an audio-recorded interview with Barry. And during said interview, when the FBI agents asked Barry why he submitted Suzanne, referring to his wife who was missing, Suzanne Renee Morphew, presidential election voter ballot, Barry replied, "Just because I wanted Trump," referring to President Donald Trump, "to win." And when discussing the ballot submission, Barry further stated, "I just thought, give him," referring to President Trump, "another vote. I figured all these other guys are cheating, and I know she," referring to Suzanne Renee Morphew, "was going to vote for Trump," referring to President Trump, anyway. When the FBI agents asked Barry if he knew that it, referring to submitting someone else's voter ballot, was illegal, Barry replied, "I didn't know you couldn't do that for your spouse." After completing this case investigation and reviewing the presented case evidence to include the verification of sorter signature, reference signature of the election voter ballot of Barry Lee Morphew and the printed address, date, name on the election voter ballot of Suzanne Renee Morphew, along with the audio recorded reply of Barry stating his reason for submitting Suzanne's election voter ballot, it is presented that Barry Lee Morphew, date of birth 10/17/1967, did submit said election voter ballot of Suzanne Renee Morphew, which is a violation of Colorado Revised Statute Title 113-106, forgery, and any person who falsely makes or alters, forges, or counterfeits any ballot before or after it has been cast, or who forges any name of a person as a signer or witness to a petition or nomination paper, or who forges any letter of acceptance, declination, or withdrawal, or who forges the name of a registered elector to a voter's mail-in or mail ballot commits forgery, as set forth in Section 18.5.102 CRS, a Class 5 felony, and shall be punished as provided in Section 18.1.3401 CRS, and Colorado Revised Statute Title 113-112, an unclassified misdemeanor. Offenses relating to mail ballots. Any person by use of force or other means unduly influences an elector to vote in any particular manner to refrain from voting, or who falsely makes, alters, forges, or counterfeits any mail ballot before or after it has been cast, or who destroys, defaces, mutilates, or tampers with such a ballot, shall be punished by a fine of not more than $5,000 or by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 18 months or by such fine and imprisonment. Therefore, your affiant respectfully requests that a warrant be issued for the arrest of Barry Lee Morphew, date of birth 10/17/1967, for the violation of the above CRS offenses. And then just signed by the Detective Sergeant Claudette, his Julian, and then signed by the Notary Public the 13th day of May. Okay, and that's what we have there. Probably not something we were thinking that he did, but I think it's very telling at the way he thinks he's above the law, the way he seems very arrogant, like, you know, I just felt like doing it. I just felt like I was going to do it. Other people are cheating, I'll cheat too. You know, I think it's really telling of his character, don't you? Anyway, we can discuss this later on tonight, but I thought I'd bring that to you. And I hope you're all having a good day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.